Hello everyone. Today, I'll be going over every single drawing I've done for Inktober. For those of you who don't know, Inktober is a challenge that artists on various social media platforms post their artwork under the hashtag of Inktober to make better drawing habits. And basically what it is there's a list of prompts that you get at the beginning of the month, and day by day, you interpret these prompts and turn them into drawings, such as this one. Day 7 was trip, and I decided to make a drawing of a plane. Basically, the only rules are that you need to make a drawing using the medium of ink, and also just to post it using the hashtag Inktober. And I believe that this is a very nice challenge where you can get very nice drawing habits and also improve your skills along the way. So without further ado, let's get right into my first drawing. So starting off with day 1, the word of the day was gargoyle. Day 2 was scurry, and this one depicts a cat chasing a mouse. And this was my first use of the Copic marker, which I used in this light purple shading. Day 3 was bat, and I drew Batman. Overall, I really like how this one turned out, especially with how chiseled everything looks. And I think this one looks like Batman is made out of like some kind of stone material. And overall, the ink wash looks really nice on this. Day 4 was scallop, and I like how this shadow turned out. Overall, it's not one of my best drawings, but I'm still happy with how it turned out. Day 5 was flame. This is one of my favorite ones because of how much it contrasts with the blackness of the background. I really like how it erupts into the top, where I kept the car near the bottom of the composition. And overall, I really like how the blue flames turned out. I really like how blue flames look. And overall, I used the Lamy turquoise ink on this, and I think it looks nice whenever it's washed out. For day 6, the word was bouquet, and I drew some flowers and tried to experiment with how temperature affects the look of shadows. And these shadows are shaded in a more blue-ish color, so I think it looks very nice how the flowers are embraced in this sort of warmth of the light, while the shadows recede into the depths of cool darkness. For day 7, this is trip. This is one of my favorites as well. I really like how each ink sort of separates and also mixes into each next level of ink all the way to the top, which is black. So starting from the bottom, this is Apache Sunset, which is an orange ink. And then in the middle, this is Pilot's Kosimosu, which is the pink. And then middle is Waterman's Serenity. And then at the top is Waterman's Black, while this bottom part is actually Lamy Turquoise. So I really like how all of these inks interact and create a really nice drawing with good unity. And this is my only drawing in this entire one that uses every single ink I have in my collection. So this one is day 8, which is match. And I actually debated whether to draw a tennis match, a horse racing match, but I ended up settling with a chess match. And I've been pretty obsessed with chess lately, but this one I just drew a hand playing a pawn move. This one is day 9, which is nest. And I kind of took this one a little more abstractly because I drew a person waking up. And as you guys may know, birds flying around a person's head is meant to symbolize fatigue inside of many cartoons. So I tried to take that a step further and show a person waking up to a nest inside of his head. And many people wake up with extremely messy hair, so I just blended the nest into very spiky streaks of hair. And I try to make his eyes look as tired as possible, which I think I accomplished pretty well. So this one is day 10, which is crabby. And I drew a boomer, an old person, trying to play with a computer, but he just can't figure it out. If you guys know old people, they obviously have a lot of trouble with new technologies. And overall, I think I captured that expression pretty nicely in his face. This one is day 11, which is eagle. So I drew an eagle's head. This one is specifically a bald eagle. And I really like how electric his eye looks. I mean, look at that. It looks extremely sharp, especially with that singular pinpoint of white gel pen in that top area. For day 12, this one is Forget. So this one takes a little more explaining because it is actually because of this meme that I will put on the side of the screen right now. Basically what that meme is how skulls kind of symbolize forgetting in this day and age, especially with the skeleton emoji skull becoming very popularized after the phrase I forgore. And basically I wanted to convey the open-mouthed bewilderment and forgetfulness inside of this guy and this guy's face. And I think that open-mouthed skulls look even more sort of bewildered and just flabbergasted at forgetting something. But overall, I really like how funny this one turned out. This one is Kind, and this one is day 13. So for Kind, I just drew two people sharing music through their wired headphones. And this one used a very minimal sort of orange ink wash that blended into the top. I believe it gives off a really nice feeling of warmth and kindness. This next one is Empty. I wanted to make this one look extremely dark and menacing, so I made the entire background pitch black and him sitting inside of a pool of his own reflective memories and just feeling extremely empty, as you can see from his empty eyes. I used white gel pen to fill that in, and overall I really like how this water reflects light and puts it back onto his face, creating a cast shadow onto his hair. Day 15 was an armadillo, and I drew an armadillo. Day 16 was a fowl, and I drew my favorite type of fowl, which is a duck. So this duck I think it looks pretty nice with the water splashing around him. And I used every single marker in this drawing. You can see purple, light purple, turquoise, and obviously pink. For day 17, I used, this is actually using a different set of markers. This one was using my Copics, but this one was using a different set. I can't remember the brand off the top of my mind, but I really like how this orange turned out. And this one is Gordon Ramsay tasting an extremely salty soup. And obviously this soup looks extremely unappetizing. I made it using green, red, and brown. I'm not sure what flavors those are, but it looks really bad. This one is day 18, which is Scrape, after a person fell off his skateboard. As you guys know, I'm one to do a lot of skateboard injuries, such as in around 5th grade. I nearly split my head open in the concrete and had to get my forehead glued shut. And basically, I try to convey that sort of pain through day 18, which is Scrape, and he scraped his forearm. So recently I've been trying to pick up skateboarding again, and I'll let you guys know how that's going later. So this one is day 19, which is Ponytail, and a lot of people were speculating who this person was, but it's just some random person on Pinterest after I looked up the word ponytail, and I tried to copy that nice shine inside of the hair, which I think I did pretty well, using individual brush marks and individual pen markings to sort of give it that hair kind of look without being too hyper realistic. This one is day 20, which is Bluff. I think this is one of my favorite ones just because of how it's constructed, where it's in a point of view perspective and you're holding a 2 and a 3, which is bad in any kind of poker related situation. But this person's trying to eye you down and make sure that you're not bluffing while you've just gambled your entire life savings away. This is day 21, which is Bad Dog. And a funny story about this one is that I actually spilled tea all over this whenever I was out with my friends. You can see sort of like sugar kind of hardened onto this paper. But overall, I still think it looks really nice. It actually made a lot of this red in his mouth kind of separate out, and I think that creates a nice atmospheric kind of look. So overall, there are no mistakes, just happy accidents. This is day 22, which is Heist, and I drew George Clooney in his role of Danny Ocean in his Ocean's movies. And overall, I really love those movies and how they depicted like heist scenes. So I drew him, and overall I think it turned out pretty nice with a gradation from light gray ink wash and how you can blend light gray into undried India ink. This is day 23 and it is booger. So I drew a small child picking his boogers extremely forcefully. And overall, I really didn't know how I was supposed to interpret this prompt, but I think I did a pretty good job of trying to make it look like extremely disgusting with this green kind of color scheme. This one is day 24 and it was fairy, so I drew a fairy using the Copic markers. And overall, I really like how iridescent it looks with the blending of purple to blue and how this hair looks as well. This one is day 25, which is tempting, one of my favorite ones because of just how juicy and shiny this sort of cherry on top of this icing looks. And overall, I think it turned out really nice. This one is day 25 and 26, which is ego. And ego, this one is a little more, needs a little more explaining because this is the psychological definition of a superego inspired off the movie American Psycho, featuring Christian Bale as Patrick Bateman. So in this movie, the superego is depicted as the ego given to the character by society. And that's why I chose to put as the first face, and then the second face is his psychological tendencies that he exhibits through his killings. So overall, I really like how this one slides. The mechanism is really simple. It's just a slit hole, and then I put this on a bar so that I can move around with my bottom hand. This one is day 27, which is snack. I think I really got good at drawing foods around this time, where I made the blueberries look extremely juicy and flavorful because of the white gel pen reflecting off of them. For day 28, this one is one of my favorites. It is camp, and I try to make it look as warm and as cozy as possible. And I use this red sort of marker to outline this fire and make it reflect off the people. And I think it looks pretty nice. For day 29, this is actually my most viewed one on Instagram with over 25k views. So thanks to everyone who liked and shared that video. But this one is depicting a scene of a sort of ship being knocked over by a ton of squid monster tentacles coming out of the water. The word of the day was uh-oh, and obviously this is a very uh-oh moment because you're about to die and drown. I've always been one to be extremely afraid of like the sea, ocean waters, so this one I feel like looks pretty nice and depicts sort of the depths by creating a lot of shadow in the areas that are directly underneath the tentacles. For day 30, I believe this one is my best drawing of like all my Inktobers. So the reason why I think that is because of all of these tiny little details that you can see here. And the word of the day was gear. So obviously there's many gears inside of this machine's system. This one was inspired off of Hiroyuki Okiura. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but that guy, his work in Ghost in the Shell is extremely impressive, especially since his is animated and mine is just one drawing, but I still think that I executed it extremely well because of just all these tiny little details. With these wires, this like sort of reflective visor in green, and all of these tiny little gears and moving parts inside of his sort of brain. So overall, I really like how this one turned out. It's probably one of my favorites. So moving on, this one is day 31, which is farm, and this one is the last drawing. And I really like how minimal this one turned out. It was a great way to finish off Inktober, and overall, just the simple colors. I think sometimes less is more, and in this situation, these clouds look pretty nice as well. So that's it for all of my drawings, but now I want you guys to comment below what your top 5 favorites were, and if I were to choose my top 5, I'd probably go in this order. Number 1, I'd go with gear, just because of all these details. Number 2, I'd go with this one. Number 3, camp, just because of how vibey it is. Number 4, forget. And number 5, eagle. So overall, thank you guys so much for all the support you guys have given me on Instagram. I think I got reach over like 100,000 accounts over the course of this Inktober. And just thank you to anyone who's followed, liked, saved, or shared. It really does help out my account and help it grow so more people can see this art and also be inspired to create their own art. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.